monumental leap, there lies a foundational element that made it all possible. Think atoms making planets, planets shaping up the solar system, people building megastructures that shape the world. Think of organizations that came together to ignite the technological revolution, which had us all glued to our smartphones. But what made it all happen? It's coming together. It's collaboration. And now, it is our time to come together and bring about the drone autonomy revolution. FlightBase is an effort to provide this collaborative base for the drone community to unite and propel towards the autonomous future. A software platform designed for building custom enterprise solutions, catering to various verticals like public safety, inspection, security, mapping, and more. Let's come together to shape the future of drone autonomy.
Yes, can you move?
At the heart of
Hello, and welcome to another very super duper exciting episode of FlytLaunch. For those of you who are new to the FlytLaunch party, here's a quick flyby of what this is all about. We kicked off FlytLaunch back in 2021 to shine a spotlight on some of the cutting edge products designed for autonomous drone operations. Most of our past launches focused on hardware, especially the latest drone docking stations. But today we are going to be taking a step further and introducing you to the world of software integrations. As you saw in the intro video, building revolutions require collaboration and a shared vision to the future, especially for the drone autonomy industry for us. And today's launch is going to be a testament to that spirit of collaboration. But before we get into all the fabulous content that we've prepped for you, hi everyone, I'm Vaishali, your fabulous host, and I've got my partner in crime, Jinx, joining me today. Yes, I'm calling him Jinx today because it rhymes with the name of the product that we are about to launch today.
Guys, please ignore her. Hello, I am Ajinkya. Welcome to the show. Before we dive into the excitement, please grab some popcorn while I go over a few housekeeping rules. Feel free to fire off any questions in the Q&A section below. We will be addressing them towards the end of the webinar. FlytLaunch is being recorded. So even if you miss some part or your friends or colleagues are not able to attend, we will be sharing the recording with them. If you are having any bandwidth issues, don't worry. We are also streaming the event live on YouTube. All right, let's not keep you waiting any longer. Please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, FlightBase's founder and CEO, Nitin Gupta. He's here to set the stage and share his vision for the future of drone autonomy. Over to you, Nitin.
Hello, everyone. I am Nitin, the founder and CEO of FlightBase. Thanks, Vaishali and Ajinkya, for hosting this event. So, welcome everyone to the launch of Flinks, and we are going to tell you what all this is about in the next an hour or so. So, let me start with setting the context. So, the main reason we need Flinks or anything is because fundamentally today we are constrained on a 2D surface of Earth. All our movement, all our transport, everything is restricted to this 2D surface, and we need to break free. The only way forward is exploiting the third dimension, and that is where our civilization is headed. This is where drones come in, and this is where all the technology that we have been building starts to make sense. So unlocking the third potential for that is where drones come in, and that is where drones have made this possible at a very low cost, and it has made the third dimension accessible to all of us. So this is something which has happened only in the last 10 years or so. Before that, going into the third dimension required a lot of resources, and it was not accessible to the most of human civilization. So now with drones, there are so many applications that we all know of. It could be from mining to construction to mapping to delivery and so on. And each of these applications needs a large number of drones. How do you really leverage the power of so many drones? You need autonomy. And for autonomy, docking stations become the core building piece. Unless you have a dock where the drone can return and charge itself and fly again, there is no autonomy. So docks are a fundamental enabler for drone autonomy, and that is what FlightBase has been working towards for last several years. Now, let me give you a quick glimpse of what FlightBase is doing to help this autonomy become a reality. The short video on what FlightBase has been doing. Yeah, please go
never
ahead.
a part of the enterprise infrastructure, but docks will be. Deploying automated dock drone operations is like solving a massive puzzle with a zillion pieces to fit together. It requires bringing together drones, docks, parachutes, payloads, weather stations, sense and avoid, not to mention the software pieces for airspace, data collection, processing, and analytics. Whew, sound a lot, right? But what if we told you there's one platform that glues all these pieces together? Well, say hello to FlightBase, an enterprise drone autonomy software platform that provides the infrastructure to build and deploy automated drone applications, including data security, integrations, flight safety and BVLOS, hardware agnostic. Enhance your data security with FlightBase Shield. FlightBase sandboxes your account, keeping your data right where you want it to be. Not just that, FlightBase offers flexible deployment options, be it on-premise or air-gapped, and enterprise-grade compliance required for large-scale deployments. Next, supercharge your integrations with Flinks. Connect third-party apps or devices of your choice for any enterprise use case in a single click. Flinks opens up a whole new world for system integrators, designed with safety-first mindset. Autonomous remote operations require far higher safety standards and risk mitigation compared to human-in-the-loop operations, which is why FlightBase has been designed ground up, with safety at its core. BVLOS readiness? Check. One-to-many operations? Check. Advanced fail-safes? Also check. FlightBase covers it all. And yes, FlightBase is hardware agnostic, allowing you to combine any drone, docking station, payload, or sensor of your choice. With FlightBase's reliable and scalable infrastructure and enterprise-grade customer support, start with a single site and expand to hundreds effortlessly. This is why FlightBase is trusted by hundreds of system integrators and enterprises with production deployments all over the world. Like we said, drones were never part of the enterprise infrastructure. But yes, docks will be. So what solution are you building with FlightBase today? Drones were never a...
So that's an overview of what we have been building at FlightBase. So fundamentally, we think of FlightBase as a layer of glue that helps you put all the pieces together that you need to solve your autonomy. And these pieces, as we mentioned, are a variety of software applications, hardware, detect and avoid systems, weather stations, and whatnot. So building this layer has been something which has been possible only because of these partnerships with a lot of other providers, and only together we are able to solve this problem efficiently. Let me take a minute to explain to you what we mean by a platform. So when you are solving a problem, there is a decision between two approaches. One is a platform approach and the other is a monolith approach. A monolith approach, which is shown on this diagram on the right-hand side, is the approach where you build all the layers, everything required in order to solve a problem. So on the right-hand side, you see that we are solving a problem, say security or construction or DFR. So you could go about building all the layers right from the bottom to the top and solve that problem. Now, this can be very fast, but this is not very scalable, because once you solve one problem and you go over to the other problem, you again have to build everything from scratch because you have architected your solution only for a specific problem. However, when you look at the platform approach, which is shown on the left, that approach is very different. So this is where we are spending a lot of time and effort in architecting a platform that can solve a variety of problems using applications on top. So this is the typical approach that you take when you design operating systems or scalable systems. Think of Android, think of Windows, where you have the core operating system, which becomes the platform, and then you have applications on top, which are solving particular problems for the customers. So at FlightBase, we have taken the platform approach, where FlightBase is the core layer or the platform, which is solving all the core problems of autonomy. And on top of it, we are working with partners to build these applications applications for specific use cases. So this approach, while it is harder, it takes a lot of time, but we believe that this is the right way to solve this problem for the long run. And this way we can build something which is very scalable and which can help us address problems across sectors. So that's the overall view of how FlightBase is designing this platform. I now invite my colleague Achal, our Director of Business Development, to share with you the specific details on Flinks, that is software integrations. That is the topic for today's webinar. Over to you, Achal.
Great. Thank you, Nitin. Thanks for that overview. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining today. My name is Achal. I'm the Director of Business Development. And now the moment has come where we're going to introduce the entire concept of Flinks. So I'll request to move to the next slide. So the whole part here is if you're going through a platform way, right? How do we make integrations really easy and seamless, right? How can we make it very easy where you just go click on few buttons and set up integration with the mining software, or have integration with a UTM or a data lake logging software or a detect and avoid system, right? How do we make it easy? And that has been the kind of challenge that FlightBase has taken up over the last few months. And today we are making it easy and seamless for the docking stations. So presenting to you the Flinks, which would allow you to have one-click integrations with third-party software applications. So Flinks, short for FlightBase Links, isn't it a cool name? Are connectors to enable one-click integration between FlightBase and external apps, devices, modules, and so on. Flinks would open a windows where you could have different integrations with different kind of software, build different applications on top of it. You'd be, of course, launching a lot of integration tools and courses where you can learn how to become a Flink developer and have those integrations with FlightBase. So let's take a deeper dive into Flinks and understand a little bit more what it is consists of and what are the essential components. So let's go to the next slide. So broadly, Flinks are divided into three categories. Number one is safety. Flight safety, very critical, of course, because you have drone docking stations remotely deployed, or you need to manage everything remotely with parachutes, with UTM, air data, logging management, and so on. Then, of course, the autonomy, where you can have fully automated operations, as well as you could have efficiency, where you do not need to no longer download a data, upload data. For data processing, it could be TBs of file that you're doing it. So let's take a deeper look of what are different types of Flinks and how we have categorized that. So looking at the market, we categorize Flinks into 6 different types, starting from alarms, which could be integrations with motion sensors, fire alarms. We'll take a deeper look in next slides. Data processing, where you can connect with data processing software, live streaming softwares, where it could be in a security environment and you have your CCTV camera video footages coming in there, and you want to integrate drone footages to the same software. Similarly, mission and logging, very critical for your compliance, managing your devices, health analysis for your batteries, and so on. As well as the detect and avoid system, where you can see what are other aircrafts, drones flying in the sky, and you can visualize them on the dashboard of FlightBase as you're flying the drones. And not to mention, but not to forget, UTM, right, where you can do the entire traffic management with the UTMs integrated for different kind of geographies. So let's take a deeper look into each of these Flinks and how do they work and some examples. So the first one is Alarm Flink. This has been one of the most popular integrations in FlightBase, because people who are deploying docking stations, be it for security, be it for gunshot detection, yard management on gas pipelines, have been integrating those sensors using Alarm Flink. And now we have made it publicly available for all our users who are using FlightBase Enterprise. They can integrate any third-party sensors or alarms with FlightBase. You can have the entire geolocation of alarm triggers sent to FlightBase, and you can automate the entire workflow, so you can send the drone to that particular location. So be it alarm sensors, distributed acoustic sensors on a gas pipeline, yard management systems, computer dispatch, audio detections, or gunshot detection systems, you can integrate all of that with Alarm Flink. Now, let's take a deeper look into the next part, which is data processing. Now, Today, the way you do operations is, of course, you go and fly a drone, you come back, you upload the data put your data in a laptop and then upload it into the cloud, and then you post process it. Now, but since you have a dock, there's no way you would be able to go to the docking station and getting that data again to your office. It would not make any sense, right? So that is where Flightbase is bringing integrations with data processing software, where you can execute mission, have entire BVLOS missions done by Flightbase with all flight safety, reliability, as well as you have the entire data security layer where your data is safely transported from Flightbase to a third-party data processing server or a processing engine, where you can create 3D maps, 2D maps, have analysis. It could be orthomosaics, it could be digital twins, or could have terrain or 3D models. So this would make your life really easy if you have been already doing surveys. And with the advent of DJI Dock 2, which has been a survey and mapping kind of a drone available in the market, or you could be using another docking station with Mavic 3 or a DJI M300, you can leverage Flightbase to fly those drones autonomously with the entire flight management system and use the software of your choice to do the data processing. Next, let's look at the third piece of Flink that we saw, which is UTM. Now, UTM, we have been all hearing about UTMs, and every country is coming up with their own system. So with the UTM Flink, UTM providers will be easily able to integrate docking station operations into UTM, as well as they would be able to send the entire advisory and alerts to Flightbase. So be it like sending drone telemetry to the UTM systems, getting flight approval plans, as well as advisory and alerts, all of that will be possible using UTM Flink. Next up, let's move to the next Flink, which is the detect and avoid. Now, we of course have got into the BVLOS category, right? You need to have a device or you need to use systems where you are able to detect other aircrafts in the airspace. Now, this is where detect and avoid systems have been there in the market. We have few partners today who's going to talk about that, and you can of course check our website to learn more. You'd be able to integrate detect and avoid systems using the DAA Flink, where we'd be able to show live aircrafts in the air on the dashboard. And then we have special algorithms to safely take the drone to an altitude. It is called go to a safe altitude, where drones could come down to a safe altitude as soon as aircraft is detected in the air. Next up, let's look at the live streaming Flink. This has been a very important integrations in security space, because folks who have been using security systems, CCTV cameras, motion sensors, they would like to show live video streaming into their software. So their security personnel and everybody who's there on the ground can see all the video feed coming from the drone. So live streaming Flinks allow you to share RTSP and RTMP video stream to the third-party software. So other teams or other parts of your organization can also view live video from the drone. Moving to the next one, let's take a look at the agenda. So this is where we'll have our speakers today, and I would like to invite Ajinkya and Vaishali to come and give us a quick overview about what's in the store today.
Thanks, Achal, for giving us an overview of what Flinks is bringing in. We have 6 fantastic speakers joining us today who will go over the various categories that you just outlined and offer a glimpse into the value of these integrations for end-to-end automation in docked drone operations, especially BVLOS operations. And we'll start off with the data processing Flink. So we will be diving deep into mining applications and analytics for mining applications. So to do that, I would like to welcome Ravi. Just a minute, I'll take 1 second to add Ravi's presentation. Yes. So, all right. Again, like I said, I'm so happy to introduce and pleased to introduce you to Ravi Sahu, the founder and CEO of Streos. Ravi has been a computer vision. He's been leading the computer vision and AI software company that combines remote sensing and 3D drone data analytics to deliver mine-to-mill AI solutions. Streos is deployed in more than 2,000 mines. Before founding Streos, Ravi spent more than 12 years working globally with Fortune 500 companies like AT&T, Verizon, and British Telecom in various roles from product management to building teams for large digital transformation projects. So welcome, Ravi. Over to you.
Thank you, Vaishali. What a great way to start the event today. I must say, I am mesmerized by the statement about drones were not a part of enterprise infrastructure, but docks will be, and which is so true. And that's why we are very excited to partner with Flightbase and the launch of the Flinks here. Bit of an introduction about Streos. Streos as it's an AI platform which utilizes the data from drones, different type of sensors, imagery, LiDAR, and we built an engine which processes the data and then delivers very specific mining AI and analytic solutions. It's been used in about 25 countries on a daily basis, over 3,000 mines and also quarries. And we focus on how do we optimize the operational efficiency in the mines. Next slide, please. So this is what it covers. What are the different use cases that can be discovered from the drone data? We have always seen drones as a solution in the mining operations as a surveying use case. But now I truly believe with the docks, it will propel a whole plethora of new use case. And that's what we have been building over the last 5 years. And it will accelerate this adoption of this use case. So you have the data, but what you can utilize now is the next different phases. So starting with the surveying, you have the photogrammetry data. It can be utilized to the next level of how you can do the rock mass characterization, which can optimize your drilling and blasting suite and optimization. So Streos has built the AI solutions on 3D photogrammetry layer to automatically analyze this information. And the next level of the mining operations are loading and hauling. If you can optimize a percentage of those hauling efficiency, it has a big gains on the operations. And then further after the hauling is done to a plant, how do you optimize the processing side of this material? So we think about how could drones play an important role in this overall value chain? Because it all starts with geospatial data. And if we can track each step, where this material is coming from and where it's ending, it becomes a useful, not just insight, but it becomes a very decision-making tool of how they're going to start to optimize these operations there. Next slide. So what changes with Streos? You may have heard about just the drone as a drone data, which is useful for surveying applications in the mines. What changes with Streos is not much. It is essentially you're capturing the data. Now with the Flinks, it's a one-click integration where if the use case is all about I want to monitor my daily operations, or I want to just go and optimize my drilling and blasting operations, capturing data, moving data into platform, and then building an analytical layer can be one click now. So the data processing, now the secondary part that comes in, which is the analytics, you usually throw this data into another CAD-like solutions that usually were the cases. But now we have an AI there, which can not only turn these results a lot more faster, but more frequent. If you're running solutions which could take days to just analyze now after the data has been gathered, it defeats the purpose. And with the advent of doc now, we will get more data, lots of data, and we need to have an efficient solution to optimize. Next slide. So we'll look into kind of, the combination of Flinks plus mining AI use cases here. We'll just jump right into the next slide here so that we can keep moving. Haul road assessment. After capturing the data, AI can automatically optimize understanding of where these issues are in the road, such as grade, super elevations, water drainage directions, and the safety, essentially the berm heights. It's all can be detected automatically more frequently, and the integration of the data from the sensors over the geospatial layer. So what it can reduce, it's not only impact on the wear and tear of the tires, but also the fuel efficiency can be optimized because the geospatial data is giving that information where to go and fix these roads instantly. Next slide. Another aspect of the mining use case is how do I understand my geotechnical and the slope stability of my mine on a regular basis? You may have seen the sensors which are applied on a radar level, but those data you are relying again on less frequent basis. With the advent of the drones here, now it can be modeled more instantly. Geological data can be updated more frequently. Understanding of as I am mining more, if I can understand seams, discontinuities, fractures and cracks of rock, I have a lot more understanding about how my mining operations is correlated to my geotechnical compliance here. And the slope modeling can detect where the high risk and low risk areas of the slope failure. Next slide. And another big part as a mining operations, they want to understand what they are mining to. And the lithology plays a big role. And we as a company have been on this path of how do we automate as much as analytical layer. So identification or just using the LiDAR or photogrammetry data here, if we can automate the classification of the different type of color bands and correlation to the minerals, which gives them really insightful information about how to optimize their blasting operations. Next slide. And further classification of the different compliance analytics, like what's my face angle is, height, interramp, which is an important safety parameter that they have to maintain, and also the catch bench width, which is more in terms of like how I maintain my offset distances between the ropes here. These are all a very operational use case, but all it's coming from the drones and the geospatial layer. Next slide. And then further mining into, as you have seen the use cases, as you are mining more, the our operations are changing and our earthwork is changing. If you can track those areas where the highs and lows of the floors are, that has a big impact on how my machines are moving. This plays an important role of if I can start to track my high grade, low grade, and the waste materials. More data not just becomes more data, but it becomes a lot more useful data now. Next slide. And looking into the drill and blast optimization, if I can understand my geotechnical characteristics, I can optimize where my QA/QC of different drilling conditions are. And then post-blast, again, drones are playing an important role now to understand my particle sizing of the blast that's coming out for each material, which has a huge impact on how I crush this material later on, if I'm getting the same size or not. And then further understanding of the rock strata analysis downhole, because we're combining the geospatial data with the machine data from the drills to showcase those rock conditions now. So as FlightBase is on the mission to kind of combine everything, this gives an ability to now enhance the use cases downstream, and then further leveraging all this data to understand how do I optimize my mine planning better, and how my pit development and progression looks like. So next slide. So what it delivers, it's there are solutions that has been optimized now. The geospatial and the drone data are now being integrated at an enterprise level to drive this operational savings now, which usually were limited to only surveying or inspections. Now we are targeting how it generates everyday operational savings. With that, I'll end here, and thank you very much for the attention. I think you're on mute, Vaishali.
Sorry. Thanks, Ravi, for sharing how the users and operators can leverage drone dogs for efficient planning and operations in mines. So I'll just quickly walk through the Streos Flink that we have on our flight-based dashboard and how that works, give you a sneak peek of how that works. So to start off, right from flight-based dashboard, we have a section on Flinks on the left bar, where you can go click on Streos's dashboard. You can then go to the media and sync the data to Streos. So right from the cloud to the Streos's cloud, you can sync all the data and then open the same data onto Streos's platform without having to loop in without having to download the data and manually upload it to the Streos platform. So it's going to be all one click. Just click on the button, sync to Streos, and you're done. And with automations coming into play, you will also be able to automate this. So you can schedule a mission, say at 3 in the morning or 4 in the afternoon, and then automatically set the automation to sync the data to Streos for post-processing. So that's how the Streos Flink will work. I'm going to be stopping the screen and passing it over to Ajinkya. But thanks again, Ravi. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ravi and Vaishali, for sharing how mining companies can leverage drone dogs for efficient planning and mining operations. Next, we have our partner from the video streaming Flink category. In this session, we will explore how video analytics technologies are transforming traffic systems. We have Philip, Senior Business Development Manager at Data from Sky. Philip brings 20 plus years of experience in sales, consulting, and system integration. He specializes in implementing complex information systems for utility companies and spearheading environmental and energy products. Under Philip's leadership, Data from Sky has become a global leader in traffic analytics, collaborating with top universities and earning recognition in prestigious awards programs like the Deloitte Technology Fast 50 CE. With this, I hand over the stage to you, Philip.
Okay. Thank you, Ajinka. Hello, everybody. I'm Philip. I'm here to introduce you shortly Data from Sky and our solution. Data from Sky, we are 10 years on the market. We are coming from the Central Europe, from Brno in Czechia. Basically, we are software developers who started 10 years ago with evaluation of traffic data from video footage made from drones. During the time, we moved slightly to the ground. So at the moment, our solution is based not only on drone data, but we are able to work also with the cameras on the ground. Our software is fully interactive AI-based traffic framework designed for real-time driven traffic detection based on video streams. An IP camera can capture a scene, sending the video data to our Flow AI engine, which analyzes the video stream and extracting the numerical data from this. These non-image traffic insights can be further sent to the Flow Insights client software, or we are able to send the data further via OpenAI. We can offer two options on how to work with video data. First option is maybe the most used by the traffic engineers. It's post-processing of your already captured video data. So you can make a recording, then upload it to our traffic survey, and you will get the result of the analysis of the data. Second option, which I would like to introduce also today, is focused on real-time data, which For instance, for the drone applications, we are able to run our software in the rugged field computer with AI acceleration, built as a traffic drone unit in the rugged case, which can be connected by Tether directly to the drone. Our solution, Data from Sky Flow, is built on three main pillars. Basically, it is precision, it is trajectory-driven design, and we are camera independent. What does it mean, trajectory-driven design? Basically, we do not directly count the cars or vehicles in the specific place. Instead of that, we provide complete trajectories that can be further interpreted as you need. And this approach, we call trajectory-driven design, it is based on the simple processing steps. In the first one, we detect trafficked objects using deep neural network, and we make the categorization. We are able to differentiate 7 categories from drone, but from static cameras, traffic cameras, we are able to differentiate more than 20 different categories. As a next step, we are able to connect those detections between continuous frames, and we are creating the trajectory, this green line. This is the tracking phase, and the goal of this phase is to provide continuous tracks of each moving object in the video. Continuous means that the same object has the same ID during the whole passage through the monitored area. However, there can be complications due to dynamic or static occlusions, but basically the trajectories are fundamental. If you need to create, for example, origin-destination metrics, or you would like to follow where the car started to run. The last step of the detection is not the detection, but the last step of the evaluation is up to you. With our tool, which allows you very easily graphically define what exactly you would like to evaluate, you can very easily create virtual counting gates or different zones. And apply different dynamic filters, which allows you to monitor the traffic. So you can evaluate speed of the cars. We are able to detect different near-miss incidents. We are able to work with acceleration or deceleration of the cars. But basically, we are able to make all the counts and origin destination analytics. The last but not least is that, as I mentioned at the beginning, we started with video footage from drones, but at the moment we are fully independent on video source. Our software was originally created to analyze video from aerial sources, such as drones. But today, our AI engine is able to process video also from low position cameras. So we are able to use all different CCTV cameras as a source. We are able to work also with fisheye 360 degrees cameras, or different panoramic cameras. At the moment, we are also working with fusion of different sources. So we are working not only with visual videos, we are able to process also thermal cameras, and we are also working on the fusion from data from radars and cameras. Maybe let's go to the short examples how it can work. In this case, we are monitoring to connected roundabouts. we are able to detect all the movement objects. We are able to classify into basic categories of the vehicles. And on the gates, which you can see those green and red and blue lines, we are able to count all the vehicles which are entering the zones, which are entering the detected scene. Usually, this works as a basic for the or as a basis for the further traffic analytics. Traffic engineers are able to make the counts of how many cars, how many different vehicles are coming in a different time of the day. And based on that, they are able to accommodate either the design of the intersection or directly to manage the traffic lights. For instance, what you see is big analytics of the data, which were then used for the cycling path optimization in Denmark, where we detected vehicles, but we also detected the amounts of bicycles who are coming into the scene, and based on that, they were able to optimize the design of the cycling path to optimize the access to the cycling path.
Right. So yes, thanks a lot, Philip, for that
So
detailed.
that's basically what are we doing in cooperation with drones and with your colleagues. We are also able to make some emergency solutions, like we are detecting the traffic from start. There is some emergency situation, there is some accident in the street, or there is some traffic jam. We are able to send a drone which will start to observe this non-typical or emergency situation from drone, still being evaluated by our real-time software. So that's basically all. Thank you for your attention. Ajinka,
Right.
the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Philip, for that detailed explanation of the data from Sky platform. And here we have a short video introducing the data from Sky Flink, wherein Flightbase will take care of all the autonomous drone operations, where it will be able to live stream the video feed of the traffic directly to the data from Sky or the Flow platform. So in real time, users can see the video stream being sent to the data from Sky platform, and all the analysis, all the details that Philip just mentioned being generated there. So thanks a lot, Philip, for that beautiful presentation. With this, I pass on the stage to my colleague Vaishali for the next session.
Thanks, Jinkya, and thank you so much, Philip. We really loved the word sixth sense in traffic. Yes, thanks again. I would like to now welcome our next guest speaker. And we are going to be diving deep into the detect and avoid Flink. And to do so, let me welcome Stan. And just give me a moment. I'll share my screen. So yes, again, thank you, Stan, for joining us today. We are going to be delving deep into the DA Flink and discuss the critical role of aircraft detection in ensuring airspace security and flight safety. And Stan is going to join us. He's the co-founder of Senhive, a firm that focuses on detection and avoidance technology. His early police experience combined with strong analytical skills led to the application of cutting-edge law enforcement technologies. And this made him a highly skilled subject matter expert in digital forensics and telecom analysis and prompted him to leave his police profession to co-found Senhive. Today, Stan is a CUAV expert with a significant customer base in law enforcement. So welcome to the show, Stan.
Thank you, Basali.
And over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, so as Basali said, we do drone detection or detection and avoid systems. And well, it all started on the southern pole, on the Antarctic. In the next slide, you will see a movie. Yes, you will see a movie about the Antarctic station, which is managed by the Belgium government, where we did a lot of experience, because you could ask yourself the question, why is there a link between the Antarctic, the research station, and drone detection? Well, we had a lot of experience in managing remotely, but also on site, everything that has to do with data communication, energy, so really power efficient, and repatriation of data to the back to Belgium. So and also some on the edge processing. So all these experience we took with us when developing our new products, SenID Plus, which I will show you in a minute. No, next slide. Thank you. So yeah, we are a small company. We're about 10 people, but we have a good mix between engineers, so technical people coming from different markets, so telecommunication, but also UTM and robotization and automatization. But also, for example, I'm coming from police, so I have a lot of security experience, which I took with me to Senhive and applying also in our products. Next slide. Although we are a young company, we were founded in 2019. Since we launched our SenID Plus sensor, we gained a lot of traction, and currently we are active in about 21 countries with a vast network of resellers and distributors in the whole world, but today mainly a focus on Europe. And well, I'm glad to say that we sold about over 120 sensors worldwide, which are being used not only by law enforcement, army, Ministry of Defense, but also BVLOS operators and other use cases, which I will take one from the Port of Antwerp later on. Yeah, thank you. Next slide. Yeah, so we have a couple of products that can help you with detect and avoid. So it can help you with detect and avoid in BVLOS safety, but of course, drone detection, we are also focusing on security, so protecting facilities. So it can be a good match between a drone in a box, maybe also some camera analytics and other applications where our sensors can help improve security by pinpointing the drone or even the pilot. So the drone in the box can also act as a remote controlled security guard, which has been steered by us to the pilot that could be a security threat to your facility. Thank you. So we have our SenID Plus, it's our main product. We combined a lot of technology in it, and starting with remote ID, which is in Europe and soon hopefully also in the US and the other parts of the world mandatory. So we can pick up remote ID from different sort of drones, brands of drones, but also hook-on devices, which will give you a good overview of all cooperative flights in the area where you're operating your BVLOS flights or your drone in a box or other drone operations. Now, unfortunately, not everybody is keeping in mind that there are some regulatory laws and procedures. So not everybody has a remote ID. So we also developed the sensor to do uncooperative detection. So drones that are not complying with EASA rules, FAA rules, or other rules. If you can just go back one time to the previous slide. Yep, thank you. So we can do location and of the drone, but also of the pilot. We go up to 10 kilometers. It all depends, of course, if you're in urban or in rural environment. And we can detect also other brands. Now, something we try to do is keep it as compact and easy to set up, but also affordable. And that's one of the reasons why we're here. We also have an open API, and we like to integrate with platforms that reunite a lot of data, like Flightbase is doing with these Flinks. Thank you. Next slide. We have 3 versions of our SunID Plus. The one on the right is the most common version. It's a SunID Plus with omnidirectional antennas, which is easy to set up, quick deployable. In about 10 minutes, you can be operational. And if you're in a rural environment, you will get distances up to 10 kilometers, even more. So your drone in a box will have a good, you will have a good airspace awareness for your drone in a box flight. Completely at the left, you have our SunID Plus version with the sector antennas, which in urban environments will give you up to 5 kilometers, because I won't go into much technical details, but radio frequency is often, you have a lot of interference, especially in urban dense environments. So there we have conceived our sector version, which gives you good performance. And then lastly, we also have, since a couple of weeks, our backpack version, which is rather popular with police and military units, but it will also be interesting for drone operations, where you have to quickly deploy a detect and avoid system, which has basically the same performance as the other versions, but is packed, as the word says itself, packed in a backpack, which is easily transportable, and you have a battery pack included, which gives you autonomy of up to at least 8 hours, up to 12 hours of autonomy. So you can do some detect and avoid in the field. Thank you. Next slide. And then, yeah, one of the more, I think, a really important customer for us is the Port of Antwerp, where at the beginning they only had a UTM system, but they didn't see the drones flying around live. So quickly they came to us, and since almost 3 years or over 3 years, they're a customer of us, using our sensors to have a live, real-time awareness of what's happening in their airspace, both in ADS-B, because our sensors can also do ADS-B mode S, both in ADS-B, but also for drones. Now the question is, do you need detect and avoid? Well, if you know that in the last 7 days in the Port of Antwerp, we had over 340 detections on 7 days. You can imagine that if you want to operate a BVLOS flight in sites like this, harbor like this, having a good awareness of what's happening in your airspace can be really important. And if you go to the next slide, you will see in 30 days, it's even more impressive, where you almost can't see the port anymore. And there we have over 1,000 detections of drones flying around. Now, they're both, here it's a mix of cooperative, so authorized, and uncooperative drones. Because we don't do the distinction, then I think later on in this presentation you will have our one of our partners, which is Skydrone, which is an UTM provider. That's where their role they step in, and they can say if it's an authorized or non-authorized drone. So the combination of detect and avoid and UTM is often inherently linked to each other. And then the next slide, please. So as I said, the Port of Antwerp is one of our main customers. It's a vast site of, I think, 12 kilometers by 6 kilometers, as you can see here. They recently acquired some drone in the boxes, but in order to get permission to fly them from their control center, they needed to, by the BCAA, sorry, they needed to have a good awareness of what's happening in their airspace. So that's where our sensors come in the picture. So we have 6 sensors installed in the port, and we see everything that has to do with aviation, so manned and unmanned aviation, up to 500 feet. We focus on up to 500 feet, but of course we can go higher. And we can visualize, thanks to our API, we visualize everything in the UTM platform of the Port of Antwerp, which gives them a good awareness about what's happening in their airspace. Yep, thank you. Next slide. So I kept it really short. So just to finish up, we develop and assemble everything in Europe, here in Belgium. And yeah, I think our sensors are becoming not a luxury product anymore. And if you want to have some safe operations, then the combination with a good detect and avoid system is inherently or is almost mandatory in my eyes. So I think the integration with FlightBase will provide a good airspace awareness for BVLOS and do it in all safety and security. Thank you, Pasali.
Thank you so much, Stan. I think it's very important to overstate the importance of detecting both cooperative as well as uncooperative aircrafts in the airspace, especially when you're going to conduct BVLOS operations with minimal human intervention. Having a visual observer just does not make any sense out there. So thanks again for this. For sharing with us. And we'll just see how the Senhai Flink works. We have a very short video once again. And yeah, let's get to it. So from the FlightBase dashboard, we again can go access Flink's library. And from there, we click on Senhai's link, Flink. And from there, as you can see on the left, there are some alerts that are raised. The Senhai's sensor is placed out there. And sorry, once again. Yeah, so the Senhai's sensor is placed, and you can see the cooperative, the radius, as well as the cooperative and the non-cooperative aircrafts that are in the vicinity. And it also lets you know all the threats that are within, and gives you an alert of all the different aircrafts that are within the airspace. So that's a quick video about how the Flink works for detect and avoid sensors. And thanks again, Stan. It was great having you. I will let Ajinkya move on to the next link. So, yep, over to you, Ajinkya.
Yep. Thanks a lot, Vaishali. Thanks a lot, Stan, for helping us understand how detect and avoid systems can enhance airspace awareness to enable safer autonomous drone operations. For the next session, we have our friend from Skydrone. In this session, we will emphasize on the crucial role of flight authorization and traffic awareness. From Skydrone, we have Didier, who is a marketing and sales specialist and lover of startup companies. He started his career in the media and co-founded several new TV and radio initiatives. He then took a first step into the exciting world of tech startups. Didier joined Skydrone's management team in June 2021, contributing to a successful go-to-market of Skydrone solution and services. With this, I welcome you to the event, Didier, and the stage is yours.
Thank you, Ajinka, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about our UTM services. And we're very excited to be included in the FlightBase links because we think that this part of BVLOS flying is crucial. So this is about docked drone operations, and docked drone operations obviously is a system that talks about beyond visual line of sight flying. You can go to the next slide, please. So the BVLOS problem is that it's not easy to get authorization to fly beyond visual line of sight in more complex airspaces. Use-space airspace, the new legislation that has been put to work last year, beginning of 2024, would be a solution for that, but it's not in place yet everywhere. I think it's not in place yet anywhere. And the other solution is segregating unmanned aviation from manned aviation is not a scalable solution. So we try to work on another possibility. You can go to the next slide, please. The biggest problem about beyond visual line of sight is that you still need to comply with the VFR, see and avoid. And you can go to the next slide, please. In a beyond visual line of sight, the equivalent of see and avoid is not seeing at all because the pilot of a drone is not on board the drone and cannot look around him. Next slide, please. So if you look at EASA's legislation, there's two possible ways of making a beyond visual line of sight or a docked drone operation safe. And EASA splits the responsibility in a pre-flight phase, the strategic deconfliction. That's telling everyone where you are planning to be. And that's something you can do in the flight authorization system, UTM system. And then in flight, there's the tactical deconfliction, is showing everybody where you are flying now. That's what's called the traffic information. And that serves for collision avoidance. We'll first look at our UTM solution, the strategic deconfliction. Next slide, please. Thank you. So Skydrone has developed a UTM system that's being used by, amongst others, Skies, the Belgian military, and it allows you as a drone operator in a pre-flight phase when you're planning your flight to use your link, your Flink, to push your flight plan through to the flight authorization tool of, for example, Skies, where you manage your UAV operations, you import your flight plan, and you ask authorization. Next slide, please. This UTM system is being used over 50% of the airspace over Belgium. It's the civil geo zones of Skies around the airports, the civil airports managed by Skies, and all the red spots you can see is military airspace, which is being managed by the military. Next slide, please. So if you want to fly in any of those zones, you have to first do your flight planning, which you can do through the flight link, through the Flink. That gets pushed through to the GeoZone manager, who gives approval for your flight plan. And then the day of your flight itself, the in-flight zone, you have to alert your takeoff to this system, which you can also do through a Flink. And then the GeoZone manager can see that you're taking off and can follow your flight. Next slide, please. So the planning of the flight and the activity is in the drone and aerial activities planner. Next slide, please. That then goes to the GeoZone manager who sees your request coming in. Of course, your flight authorization demand is highly automated and it sees immediately whether or not you're complying by the rules. If you're complying by the rules, your flight request will be authorized. Next slide, please. The day of the operation itself, you will then alert your takeoff either using the mobile app, the Fly app, or pushing it through to your Flink. That will alert to the air traffic controllers of your takeoff. Next slide, please. And these people will see where you are flying on a live screen in the control part of the same software. So that's all for the strategic deconfliction. By using this flight planning tool, everyone will know where the others are planning their flight, and then they can therefore avoid bumping into each other, or at least avoid flying in the same airspace. Next slide, please. Once you're in flight, you can still have a surprise visitor. My colleague Stijn already mentioned it. We use, amongst others, their drone detection system, SenID Plus, and we add onto that all the radar information from Skies to show both the manned aviation and the uncrewed drone traffic in one map. Next slide, please. And this, of course, is very important to allow for collision avoidance. So here you see a map of the harbor of Ghent, and you see a flight operation that you planned yesterday, for example, in the south of the harbor. And at the moment that you want to take off, you can see that to the north, there's a drone flying unauthorized. To the south, there's an airplane arriving, and to the north, you see a small aircraft also entering the harbor. This system is built so that you, as a drone operator, will always have a 3D situational awareness of the airspace you want to operate in. Next slide, please. So you will see in your secondary screen, of course, a complete view of who is flying, and this blue one is your drone, for example. And you will always get alerts from the system if a dangerous situation would take place. So imagine the unauthorized drone would approach your operation, or that private aircraft would be flying under 1,000 feet. Then you would get a warning from the system. Next slide, please. And this is again the same picture. Next slide, please. So a zoom in, you will see, of course, if a helicopter or a unauthorized drone would arrive in the proximity of your drone flying. You can set the alerting areas from where you will want to get alerted. So a drone coming close by, let's say within the 500 meters of your operation, would be a reason enough to give an alert. But for a helicopter, most often flying at over 100 kilometers an hour, you would want to have a greater buffer. So you can set these at your discretion. So these two systems are both a strategical deconfliction in the flight planning, and then a tactical deconfliction in the traffic information system. And to make this accessible to everyone, we are happy to make this accessible through the Flinks. Next slide, please. And this is what this would look like. Thank you, Ajinka.
Thanks, Didier. So here's a short video for the audience how the integration would look like, or the Flink with Skydrone would look like. Wherein again you can go to the Flinks library, enable your Skydrone Flink, and once you enable that, before every flight you have to get a approval for that flight plan, and that can be done in advance. So you get a tag here if that particular flight plan is approved or the approval is pending, and you can only execute the flights legally, the ones that are approved. And after that, of course, the user can remotely click on launch, execute that mission, wherein the flight-based system sends the request to the Skydrone platform for the flight approval. And only when the approval is granted, the drone will take off and perform that mission. So this is on a high level the workflow of the integration, but this is how we can ensure there are safer drone operations in the sky. So yes, thanks a lot, Didier, for that wonderful session. And yes,
Thank you.
Yes, with this, I pass on the stage to my colleague Vaishali for the next session. Over to you, Vaishali.
Thanks, Ajinkya. Thanks, Didier, again for sharing about the role and importance of UTMs, especially again for BVLOS operations. So moving on, next we are going to be talking about the logging Flink, and to do so, I'm going to be inviting Trevor. Just a minute, I will take a second to share my screen. Yes, we are all set. So again, we're going to be showcasing drone data management solution, a must-have for reporting and compliance in BVLOS operations. And we are joined by Trevor Hall, Director of Customer Success at AirData UAV. Trevor leads efforts to enhance customer satisfaction and ensure a seamless integration of AirData's industry-leading fleet management solution. With 7 years of experience in the drone industry, Trevor helps customers leverage AirData's comprehensive analytics, compliance, and maintenance features to maximize the safety and efficiency of their operations. So welcome to the show, Trevor.
Thank you. It's great to be here. And since you all let me be difficult, I have my own presentation. Would you like me to bring that up now?
Yes, please, I'll just stop sharing my screen. Um, Trevor,
Perfect.
can you add that? Can you present once again?
Sure. Yeah, I just started the presentation from my end.
Yes, it's live. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Vaishali. My name is Trevor Hall, Director of Customer Success at Airdata. It's great to be here. FlightBase, thank you for putting on this great event. For the next 8 minutes or so, I get to tell you about our product. We at Airdata started in 2015. We currently have over 300,000 active Airdata accounts. We process an average of 25,000 flight logs a day, and over 40 million flights have been uploaded to our platform. So what is our platform? Our platform is a fleet and flight data management platform. We help you manage your flight activity, your drone usage, your pilot activity. We track the health of your equipment, send you notifications. There are several components that make up what our platform is. So you can see here, we have fleet management. There's the mission planning component to our platform, end-to-end compliance, live streaming, crash prevention, risk mitigation. Now, since I don't have an hour to tell you about our product, today I'll focus on the compliance component and how we can help you as drone operators, fleet administrators, maintain a compliant drone program. And over the past 9 years, we've been able to identify some challenges that our customers face. And customers come to us and say, hey, Airdata, it's pretty difficult to, avoid penalties when, we're not in compliance. Whatever governing body is in your region has mandated that you operate under, certain parameters. And if you deviate from those, there can be hefty penalties. Demonstrating compliance to regulators, right? So in the FAA, they, mandate that, hey, if you have a COA here in the United States, you have to operate within those parameters. Same thing around the world with the different governing bodies, whether that's the CAA, CASA, whatever is in your area. You have to make sure that you are operating in accordance with their rules. And that can be difficult. Improving team accountability. So if it's just me and John Smith on my team, it's not too difficult to understand what John Smith is up to. But when our program grows and we have hundreds of drones, hundreds of pilots, that gets pretty difficult. And we want to make sure that everybody's current with their certifications. We want to make sure that everybody is flying safely with safe equipment. And then also internal management visibility. So as an admin in charge of managing a fleet of drones and pilots and batteries, documentation, that can be tricky as your program grows, understanding who's where, who's flying what aircraft. And our platform, which we'll segue to here, helps you maintain that compliant drone operation. So how can we do that? Well, there are a few features that we have that really assist with this. There's the data management that we have, which is very in-depth. So 9 years ago, when we started as a company, we set out to be drone and software agnostic. We support the flight logs from many different platforms. So we support the logs from over 60 different drone manufacturers and flight applications. Airdata is not a flight application. So when your pilots are out there flying, you continue to use whatever platform you use. If it's FlightBase, use FlightBase, and Airdata ingests those flight logs, and we display them for you on your Airdata account in a visual manner. So if I expand the screenshot here, this is an example flight on Airdata. You can see the flight tracks that we have, and the row of tabs along the top and left-hand side all relate to this particular flight. So why is this helpful? Well, you can get under the hood information about, did something occur during this flight that went wrong? Was there a notification that appeared on the flight app? Did the battery temperature get too high? You can analyze your flight data by scrolling through these different sections of this. And if I come back here onto the next one, we automatically track the maintenance for your drones and your batteries as you're completing flights. So with many of our supported flight logs, those can be uploaded to AirData automatically. And AirData in the background is tracking the maintenance for your equipment. Now that's nice, so you don't have to track it manually. You don't have to log how much airtime does this drone or battery have. AirData tallies that up, and we can notify you when maintenance is due on any of your equipment. Pulling up this screenshot, this is an image of our drone here. This is our spot where you can see drone usage. You can see the tabs along the top row here to really understand the activity of this particular aircraft. And on the left-hand side, you see service. So that's where you can see the service cycle for this particular aircraft. Now, this is a zoomed in view at one drone, but if we zoom out a bit at the bird's eye level, we also have views to help you see the status of all of your drones and all of your batteries as far as the maintenance goes and the usage for that equipment goes. We have detailed reporting that we'll look at here in a minute, so you can export all of this information outside of your account. Checklists guarantee compliance with procedures. AirData has different types of checklists. They're highly customizable. We have flight checklists and mission checklists. And if I pull this up, this is a screenshot of a mission checklist. This is a risk assessment. And you can see that it is weight-based. So AirData provides a risk score for this particular mission. The checklist being customizable allows our pilots to create checklists for particular aircraft they're using, for particular types of operations. Maybe you have a checklist for night ops, for training, for a fixed wing aircraft. You can create as many different types as you'd like. And all of these checklists come together to give you that big picture of what you're doing, what your pilots are doing with their drone operations, ensuring that you are compliant. And we do have a mission planning component to our platform, allowing you to define the who, what, when, where, and why of a flight or multiple flights. We have airspace information here in the United States. Our mission planning can be used internationally with our customers outside of the US. And this allows the administrators to understand the types of flights that their pilots are conducting. We have an approval system in place, allowing admin to approve or deny or request more information about the activity of the flights of their pilots. So if you have a new pilot and you want to make sure that they are in compliance and they are operating safely, say, hey, John Smith, can you please create a mission? They define it here, and me as an admin on that account, I get that email to let me know what John Smith is requesting and what he's up to. And then lastly, we have our customized reports that ensure regulatory compliance. So looking here, these are some of the different reporting templates that we have. And this allows you to extract the data that's on your AirData account and export it in a PDF, in a CSV, and you can schedule out these reports. So if I say, hey, I want to get an email with a PDF in it of all of my flight activity and my pilot's flight activity every month for the prior month, I can set that up. And that automates that process. I can quickly open that up, see the total flights, make sure everything looks okay. And we have a lot of different types of reports, as you can see here. All right, I think that concludes the time that I have. So thank you all for your time. There's our link if you'd like to learn more about our platform. And thank you again, FlightBase.
Thank you so much, Trevor, for highlighting the importance of drone data management, especially now that docking stations are coming into play. The volume and frequency of data collection is only going to increase, and it's just going to become a nightmare for all operators out there, because you can now run at least 10 missions in a day. Or more. And thanks again for sharing how AirData streamlines all of this. I will just once again present my screen to show the Flink of AirData. Yes, there we have it. So yes, again, from the Flinks library, you can just quickly navigate to the AirData's Flink, and from the flight logs of the recent flight that you have just captured, you can directly pass it over and play sync directly to AirData. There's a quality issue of the video right now, but on the right, as you can see, and then it can open directly on AirData's dashboard, and you can make a repo or list the complete report of the flights that you have conducted and take it forward from there. So that's how our the logging Flink would work. And now, thanks again, Trevor. I would now again invite Ajinkya to talk about the last Flink of the day. And yes, welcome our next speaker.
Yes, thanks a lot, Trevor, for that session about how important it is to manage the drone data as well as to monitor the health of the devices. So thank you again. I would. So next we have our Flink partner from the Alarm Flink category, and in this session we will explore how combining radar technologies with drone dogs can enhance protections and reduce response time for security intrusions. With this, I would like to also introduce our speaker, Mark Mahoney, who is Strategic Business Development Manager for Spotter Global's North America division. With a background in the US Navy and over 20 years at Sperry Marine, he has extensive radar industry experience. Previously, as Director of Business Development at Terma, he worked with clients like FAA and SpaceX. And at Spotter Global, Mark focuses on leveraging radar technology for security applications in critical areas. With this, I pass on the stage to you, Mark. Mark, you're on mute. Sorry for that.
My apologies. Again, thank you, Ajinkya. I'm excited to be here and join you all. Much thanks to my fellow speakers, and in particular to Ajinkya and Vaishali and the good folks at FlightBase for allowing Spotter to have an opportunity to join such an interesting program. So who is Spotter? If you could put on the first slide, please. So Spotter, we are a radar technology company. We provide target detection and tracking for numerous applications, primarily in the security arena, but also in particular in the UAS drone arena, of which FlightBase excels. So we were founded in 2009. Our founder, Logan Harris, started the company when he was in discussions with people in the U.S. Special Forces who were sharing concerns about their perimeter security, and in particular limitations seen by having a camera-only solution. So he came up with a very compact radar, of which we have updated over the years in 2009, and very quickly had the first sale to SOCOM. And then from there, we expanded into many different applications with power plants and refineries and other critical infrastructure being a key component of what we do. From there, very quickly advanced on to the UAS arena and started making making radars for drone applications. We currently have, this slide's a little bit outdated. We actually have probably 2,000 sites at the moment protected around the world and over 7,000 radar systems in operation. Next slide, please. Just to give you a quick glimpse of where we are in North America, we're ever expanding. There's a couple of circles there where we've actually added more personnel in Mexico, as well as where I'm located in Ohio. Next slide, please. So today we are located globally around the world. We are support numerous applications, airports, data centers, anything that's critical infrastructure, border protection, conservation, which is kind of interesting. We actually team with Polar Bear International, where our radar is used to detect and track polar bears. They actually call it a bear dart. What we do is we actually keep the polar bears and the local community of Churchill, Manitoba safe. Churchill is the polar bear capital of the world, and by us being able to track and detect the polar bears, we can ensure that they're not encroaching within the confines of the local community, at the same time conserving the protection of the bears themselves. And as you can see from the pictures and the words, we cover a lot of different applications for our end customers utilizing our radar technology. Next slide, please. So just kind of give you an overview of where Spotter is located. We have a very, very large global footprint. And that kind of gives you an example. Majority of our work, because we are a North American-based company, historically has been in North America, but we are actually expanding significantly around the world with much success in Latin America and in Europe primarily, additionally. Next slide, please. Okay, actually. So we offer different products, primarily radar-based, for both ground detection as well as air, or in this case, drones. We're going to talk about our network I/O. It's our interfacing device in order to capture sensor inputs and then display it into a format great for the user. And then a new product called the Integrated Management Center. We're basically used to detect and track cooperative and uncooperative targets, and particularly uncooperative ones, because that's where us as a radar-based security company comes into play. Next slide, please. So we have a number of different radar series. We have the CK series, the C series, and then the GX series radars for ground detection. These are either K-band or X-band radars, and they're used for different applications based on the customer site and what their security requirements are. So what we do is we do a survey of a customer's location, and from there we can offer to them various radars to enable them to detect and secure a particular perimeter area for their facility or facilities. Next slide, please. Okay. So the AX250 is our drone radar. It is the only radar that does not have a cone of silence. Because of the way that our antenna is configured, it's a 360-degree rotating radar. We can actually cover full radar coverage on a dome. Traditional radar technology leaves a gap at the top of which you cannot see. We overcome that with our radar. We're the only ones who do that. With our radar, then, we have full 250-meter range, and we can classify it. Is it indeed a drone? Is it a bird, or is it some other airborne item? And then we take that information and share it with our customer. Next slide, please. So the network I/O is the heart and soul of our product. Basically, we take inputs from our radars as well as third-party camera systems. They all go into our network I/O, which we call a NEO, and then the NEO is then the communication portal. We talk to the NEO, and the NEO talks to other devices. We supply all of the information that a video management system is going to need if there's one in their program. And we supply them all the track target information, the alarm monitoring. We communicate with the cameras to slew onto a target so that they too can track the target. And then, of course, we classify it. One thing unique about Spotter is that we classify both radar as well as video. So we actually utilize AI analytics for both radar and video, not just the radar itself. And then we have numerous means to filter out tracks. So when you have a very large, cluttered, target-rich environment, you may not want to see every single track because it may be something that you know is already there. Doesn't meet the confines or the requirements of your security plan. So we have thousands of means of tailoring down and filtering out so you only see what you want to see. And then one of the key things that we do, and what we would do with FlightBase, is be able to send information, signals, and alerting messages and means to establish communication to alarm systems, lighting systems, anti-drone measures, etc. Next slide, please. This kind of gives you a quick graphical view of our system with our NEO smack dab in the middle. And to the left, you'll see multiple radars. In this case, there's 2. We can have 1 radar, we can have 50 radars, 100 radars, whatever that particular customer needs in order to fulfill their security plan and coverage. So basically, there's 4 methods or requirements in order to address a threat. Detect and classify it. What is it? Track it. We verify our track by utilizing cameras, where we will slew and queue cameras to the same target that the radar's tracking, and verify that the camera is also tracking it in the same way. And then a response. Is that response for us to share to our customers, again, alarms, countermeasures, etc. Next slide, please. So this kind of gives you an idea of what Spotter and FlightBase can do, where we would immediately detect and track targets both on the ground as well as in the air, verify that, as I said earlier, with cameras, provide classification data with our AI, and then we share that information such as bearing, range, the altitude, the target size, target type, and classification data, so that then a countermeasure activities can be done. Next slide, please. Thank you. This kind of gives you a snapshot view of what it takes for us to do a successful deployment for our customers. Every customer is different. Every facility is different. The perimeter security needs can be different. So what we do is we do a remote site design. Basically, from our offices, we look at the facility, we talk to our customer, we understand what their needs and their concerns are, and then we come up with an initial plan for what we believe will cover full radar coverage. And because we have many different models and ranges of our radar systems, in this case, as you see to the right, you're going to see numerous different radar coverage zone circles. Those are all based on the technology of what we have for different types of radars and then the customer's needs. And so we pick and choose the right radar for that area that they wish to have covered. We work with our customer and with the end user to make sure that the coverage does indeed meet their needs and meets their expectations. And then we go ahead and we start with some budgetary pricing to help them come up with a budget. Once contract's been signed and we have an award, then we actually do an on-site survey. And then we may have to tweak and tailor the scope of supply a little bit based on an on-site survey. And then we work with our end customers to have it installed, arrange proper networking and power, and then we come back and we commission the systems. Commissioning takes quite a while because we want to make sure that we're getting full coverage for everything. And then we will review the alarms after a couple of weeks, and then we will come back and we'll go back and we'll re-optimize the system and further increase its capabilities to ensure that it's getting the best detection criteria. And then that filters out false alarms. We're training the AI as we continually are getting more and more tracks. And then when the customer is happy, then we sign off the program. Next slide, please. So that was it from Spotter. Thank you for the opportunity for us to chat a little bit. And if there is any questions, please, by all means, feel free to contact me.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Mark, for walking us through with the Spotter Global's product offerings as well as the capabilities of these radars. And like you mentioned in the second last slide, the workflow or the integration with FlightBase, how it would look like. So we also have a short video on those lines. So I'll just play it for the audience. So again, similar to other Flinks, you can go to the Flinks library and select the Spotter Global Flink, wherein if you already have those radar systems from Spotter Global deployed in your premises, you can directly connect them with FlightBase to create automated workflows. And of course, there will be multiple alarm sources. So as soon as these radars detect a human intrusion or a vehicle intrusion, you will get an alert on the FlightBase dashboard, as well as the drone will be automatically deployed to the location of incident, so without any human intervention. So this kind of decreases the response time, as well as when the drone reaches the location of the incident, the user or the operator has real-time situational awareness, and then they can take necessary actions to tackle that situation. So yes, thanks a lot again, Mark, for the session and for being with us today. So I think that we have come to the end of the all the sessions. So yeah, over to you, Vaishali.
Thanks, Ajinkya. Thanks again, Mark, for sharing such insights around how radar systems can help with detection of both drones as well as objects on ground and be a useful tool for ground surveillance as well. I would like to thank all our speakers today. They've been such a sport, try to put out a presentation in such a short period of time. Again, thank you, audience, for taking your time out of your busy schedule and making it here today. If you have any questions around Flinks, I'll just drop a link in the chat window. Feel free to reach out there. And if you have any questions for our speakers, unfortunately, do not have any time left to take questions today, but I'll most definitely pass it over to them. Do reach out to us, and we will definitely pass it over to them to address it for you. But before we close it off, I would like to ask Achal to share a few closing thoughts.
Thank you, Vaishali. I would like to thank everybody for joining this, and specifically all the speakers. Thank you for taking our time and sharing the entire wisdom that you have with your products, your domain, right? From mining to DA to UTM, traffic analysis. We learned a lot. So thank you so much for your time. And Flink is just a start for these kind of software integrations. Of course, you saw the sneak peek of what future is going to look like with all the integrations, and you'll be able to combine the right pieces to solve that puzzle of drone autonomy. And as Nitin said, we would be able to go to the third dimension and explore that. So that's my last thought. I would like to thank everybody for joining today, and have a good day.
Have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
FlytLaunch.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.